Redundancy can be a huge dent to your confidence, and it can play havoc with your stress levels too, not just for you, but those around you. But there is a way through. And today I'm talking to transitions coach Ollie Holloway about how to deal with redundancy and come out better for it. But first, I'm going to ask Ollie what it is that stresses him out on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I think my biggest kryptonite is things that make me feel stupid, because when I was younger, about the age of 9, I was dyslexic. I still am dyspraxic, ADHD, stuttering. And I remember being heavily picked on. And so anything that reminds me of that's a very sensitive area for myself. And what I do about that is I've changed my model of seeing it. I think of it as learning abilities as opposed to disabilities.
Excellent.
And I've been learning in every single area. So I read a book a week, trilingual with my children, only speaks French and Spanish. There's so much learning in all these different areas, as well as a range of different micro exercises, such as exercise, really short, fast bursts of that to change one's mindset, priming towards top performance, gratitude, creativity, visualization, to the roads less traveled of breath work, cold training, all of these just to give me that focus and energy and confidence.
And that added edge as well. So it's interesting. So it sounds like at one point you had the inner critic working quite hard on you, but what you've done is you've found strategies that help you utilize what you felt were disabilities then to help use them so that you can move forward in life, and it's probably increased your creativity, I would imagine, enormously.
Absolutely, because the less time you're in that inner critic zone, the more you're using all of the different parts of your brain for focus, creativity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm impressed that your kids speak several languages. That's so good, and also good for our brain to work with languages, and also musical instruments is a way of kind of staving off any dementia or anything like that, and helping us to be more flexible of mind as well. So that's brilliant to hear too. Yeah. Let's talk now about redundancy then. What is it about redundancy that is so stressful for people?
So many different things, but it can really powerfully tap you into your most negative thought loops. Everyone's different, but that could be anything from I am a failure, I've let everybody down, people don't like me, am I good enough? There's also that feeling of losing control, freedom, someone's done this to them. They start painting out all of these negative future scenarios that could occur down the line. There's that identity shock and loss.
Identity is a big thing, isn't it? You know, because people, and especially men, or typically, identify themselves through their work. And so if they lose their job, then that's a real dent to their confidence. And also the uncertainty that comes from redundancy as well. So what can people do, given that that's how they feel about it, to actually make redundancy work for them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, addressing that mindset.
Yeah.
Really, the more positive one is, it absolutely charges up if you look at probability, it really will increase that. And it's a lot of things one can think around in relation to, fact-based, really sort of understanding that this is normal with the way companies are going. Also, not being ashamed of it. There's a lot of people who just shut themselves away. They don't want to talk around it.
Yeah.
But it's such an opportunity to leverage and talk to their network, and so many people that can help them if they'll go out and explain the situation. Obviously not focusing too much on all of the pain of the redundancy, but actually how they can move forward with it. Yeah. And, and I know we were talking around this before, but also that the person who's made them redundant, sometimes we can think, wow, they sort of had it in for us, but actually a lot of time it's equally as stressful for them as it is for yourself. And
so sorry. I remember years ago when I was working in the HR world, I was in the very unfortunate position of having to make people redundant from time to time, and it is awful. Sometimes managers themselves don't handle it so well. And I remember that there were times when we had to make whole departments redundant because of mergers and acquisitions. And I was struck by how some people still took it personally, that even though the whole department had gone, they felt it was their fault. So people's ability to personalize something that's not personal can really impact stress levels as well. So being able to realize that this is just kind of the way of the world sometimes, and utilizing it as making it work for them. So what are some practical tips that people can use, Ollie, that would help them move from that position of pain and shame and whatever else might be involved into a position of, I feel really good about where my career is going now?
Yeah, there's a number of different things. And one of the first ones is just really taking that action and staying really active. I mean, it's all too easy to get overwhelmed and suddenly develop a huge passion for YouTube, social media, all of those things. And, you know, in the words of a writer, Brian Tracy, you know, do something that's going to move you forward every day. Get it done early.
Yeah.
It's the best way to move forward with the job search. Also, hit some of those big issues early on. So many of my clients are like, oh my goodness, what am I going to say to the next employer? And that can cause them to not want to go to interviews because they're worried around what happens if that question comes up. You know, some simple processes one can do with that. If you know, it's almost practicing that so it stops becoming a
Before they
negative.
get to that point, though, because sometimes the job they were in is not the right job for them. So one of the problems would be to go into a rebound situation where they just go from where they were to another one that they might not even like. So there's a bit in the middle before they go for interview, isn't there, where they look at actually, what do I want my career to look like? So what are some of the practical things that they can do?
Yeah, one of the big ones is that clarity piece. And a great way to start on that is it's a simple exercise that we do, and it's called a perfect day exercise. And and you can start with your current career. You know, what are the great things that you've really enjoyed in your current career? Start noting all of those down, getting really clear on it. What are the things you really didn't like? And you can start getting clear on those, creating those lists. And then imagine that you're in the absolutely ideal career. Who would you be working with? What skills would you be using? What of your strengths would you be using? Where might you be working? The environment, the people. And the clearer one can get on that, they can start to build up almost like a job description in advance. Now, that may well be starting their own company, that may well be within another company, but it just gives you a really good compass to work out what you need in your life and work to be really fulfilled. And then I start to get people to start iterating. That's what are the what's? What are the things you've always wanted to do? What are things that you'd be interested in doing? Start creating a list of anything that comes into your mind. And then you can use that perfect day that we talked about and start looking at some of those other ideas as well. And
I think that's a terrific idea. And also thinking about, I do something not the same, but if somebody wants to move to transition a little bit, but they've not been using these skills necessarily, there is a way of working with your CV to encourage, to kind of de-emphasize things that you don't like and encourage those things that you do like, so that you might get more of a possibility of getting those jobs that are more in line with the career that you want to develop for yourself.
That's brilliant. Yeah. The more one showcases the experience they've had and the things that they really enjoy, all in line with what you really want to be doing, it just enhances so much more the probability of those jobs materializing.
And what about a tip or two about job searching?
Job searching, well, for myself, this is all a game of probability. So, you know, one of the big things is don't just focus on the job ads. I mean, 10,000 people will be going for some of these big opportunities. You know, the hidden job market, that's a big one to be going for. And, you know, just simple ways to tap into that are, you know, start leveraging your own network. So many of my clients have this network that they think, oh, I'm going to save it for a rainy day when I really need it. Start reaching out to these people now.
Well, they're not even saving it for a rainy day. They've just got a network that they're not networking. They're not working.
But they've got that, so many of them, they've got these amazing contacts.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I've always wanted to reach out to them and find out what they do, or ask them if they've, you know, just to get to know these people more. And you start doing that, and just serendipities start to come about. And I mean, it's probably a third of my clients, when they do it, they find it from their immediate network, be it from them directly or someone else that they know, who they can then introduce them to. Yeah.
And I guess it would be okay to actually ask your network that, you know, are there any opportunities that they know they're available that are in line with what they're moving towards? That would be okay to do that, wouldn't it?
Yes, it is okay. I mean, I definitely think the more confident and you go out and just that's going to increase the serendipities. I mean, I tend to start with my clients of asking them just to talk to people, get to know what their situation is, and then from there you can then progress that as it goes on. So rather than going, you know, when you're looking to develop your network externally, if you're going in with, I'm looking for a job, it really reduces people getting back to you. But if you're going out to get to know people, get to know the companies they're working within, then that relationship, then you can then ask them, do they know anybody?
Yes,
are there
absolutely.
any opportunities?
And you have a tool available, don't you? Or that you use?
I do, yes. I mean, in relation to the perfect day exercise, we've got a complimentary 4-day exercise that they can do to really build that clarity. Because once you've got that, it's your mind more at ease. You can start, then you can really start putting the action pieces in above that.
So what I'm hearing then is there's a few phases. Number one is depersonalize the experience.
Absolutely.
Number two, work on your mindset so that you're in a more positive and open frame of mind.
Yeah.
Number three, leverage your network. So work your network with personal relationship, you know, developing a proper oh, that sounds awful, doesn't it? What do we want to say there? You know what I mean? So leveraging, not using, but, you know, leveraging your network.
Because so many people want to help. That's where it's interesting.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed about it.
Yeah.
Just go and talk to people. And, you know, we're not talking about negatively going out and saying, oh my goodness, my boss did this to me or that. It's just saying this is how it is, and just get to build those relationships. And then some really interesting things can happen.
The perfect day exercise is to have people understand what they definitely don't want to do in terms of a career, and what components they would like to have in terms of their career, so that they can then focus on opportunities that meet the future career that they want for themselves. And that way, when they're leveraging their network, they're honing their energies in the direction that they want to go.
Absolutely. And it stops them going straight out and getting the identical same job that they really didn't enjoy before.
Yeah, I love the term. I've just made that term up. What did I say? Rebound. You don't want the rebound job.
Absolutely.
You want the perfect job.
Yeah.
Okay, that's terrific. Is there anything important that we've missed, or have we covered it?
I mean, also, I suppose with recruiters as well, one thing I see all the time is people just going out to see like 3 recruiters.
Yeah.
See 20, see 40. And from there, if we're talking around rebounds and, you know, on that sort of, you can then find 3 that really work for you out of that 40. And then they will really sort of be the top recruiters for you.
Yeah. So finding the right recruiters for you, because they're definitely not all equal, are they? I remember that from years ago. Okay. Thank you so much, Ollie. And I always ask my guests if there is a book that they've read that they found useful, enlightening, helpful, that might help other people as well. And you have a particular one in mind, don't you?
I would recommend in this circumstance Atomic Habits. Brilliant for those first stages of getting that mindset, that energy, that structure in place to make a really powerful career transformation.
So
So
lots of different habits to build up.
absolutely.
Who is it by?
James Clear.
James Clear. So Atomic Habits by James Clear. So all the little habits that can help you be successful, positive in your life.
Yeah, great for reframing the current position towards that identity.
Great.
I am the redundant one. It's no, this is that focus. I am this person either in your new business or this new career, and starting it early, stacking it up. It's almost like you start with one really great habit, which then you learn goes on to the next habit.
Yeah.
And it really helps bring that energy and foundation to a job search.
And I think as a final note, it's really important, everyone, to move away from the victim position to one where actually you're creating a future. And either you can do that on your own, or reading this book, or working with Ollie, or I'm available as well, but making sure that you're creating the future that you want for yourself. Thank you so much, Ollie, for your help today. I do hope you've all found it helpful too. If you have, do please like and share. You never know when it will land just at the right time for somebody. If you'd like to make any comments or offer any useful tips of your own, that would be great if you could do that below. And if you haven't subscribed already, do that too. Thanks, and you take care.